This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Valve is throwing their hat into the console race. Oh yeah, we will be discussing this. We get more Nintendo Switch 2 rumors that discuss the launch window of the console and the price tag. Is Xbox no longer interested in having no red lines when it comes to their games? Well, according to a report, that seems to be the case. Red lines may once again be a thing for Xbox. And PlayStation VR2 is getting a new feature added to the headset. All of these stories can be found here and a lot more in episode 235 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Welcome. Come on in, sit down, and relax, because we're going to have a very, very good conversation today. And if you're traveling, if you are on an airplane, if you're on a bus, if you're in the car, hopefully we can accompany you to your destination. Now, with that being said, guys, if you do want to be a part of the next listener feedback, and Cody Clark, I got a couple of emails from you this week, my brother. I'll definitely try to get through a few of those. But if you do want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-627-9087 to let your voice literally be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is simply the name of the show, the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and let's get into what we all come here for, and that is the gaming news that went down. So first off, I gotta start with this. I gotta start this episode off with giving a humongous congratulations to Machine Games for scoring a 87 on Metacritic, at least on December 7th when I looked, for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. My gosh! This game came out to be incredible. I got to tell you, I had this game hitting at around maybe a 73 or so, but not an 87. I'm a big fan of Machine Games. I love their work on Wolfenstein. Really enjoyed those two Wolfensteins that were out last generation. But this Indiana Jones game being in the first person perspective, I said, man, this is a recipe for disaster, having this kind of game be in first person. But no, it doesn't appear that it came out that way. Matter of fact, hold on, let's look up the Metacritic right now. What is the Metacritic for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle?
According to NME, The Great Circle launched on Monday, December 9th, and has been praised by fans and critics alike. The God-tier game currently has a Metacritic score of 87%, has racked up thousands of players on Steam and many more on Xbox and PC, via Game Pass.
God, dog, shout out to them. They succeeded, God, dog, at 87. Man, that score is holding up. That is pretty doggone amazing. Shout out to them. I mean, man, this seems like a game I might have to check out on the PlayStation 5. I just might have to pick this up on the PS5. I don't know. I'm a little interested now. You know, hearing about the different mechanics, hearing that it's a good story. Everybody talks about the introduction of the game, saying how amazing it was, and you know how eye-opening it was. Like, oh my gosh, they did that. Yeah, I kind of want to be a part of that a little bit. Now, am I going to go out and get a Series X to make that happen? I might have, if they didn't give me the option to get it on PS5. But since I can get it on the PS5, I'm going to fall back and I'm just going to wait my turn. That's what I'm going to. I'm going to just wait my turn. But shout out to them. No, This is actually an incredible situation for Xbox. They needed this win. This is huge for them. 87. Some people said that this game could have been nominated for Game of the Year if it had come out just a couple of weeks earlier. Now, I know that some people could say, well, hey, it might be up for Game of the Year next year. I don't know. Those categories are probably going to get kind of thick when it comes to next year. I mean, of course, we got allegedly it's still supposed to be coming. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to shut the industry down next year when it comes out, along with quite a couple of other titles that will be releasing next year. I don't know if it'll continue to have the legs to actually make that happen. But I will say one thing that the game will have in its favor is next year when it does release on the PlayStation 5, it should give it a resurgence, into the ethos, as it were, where people will be talking about it more when people start to pick it up on the PlayStation 5. So from that perspective, maybe, just maybe it could get a little bit more legs and possibly be up for a nomination for something next year based off of that. But we'll see. But guys, let's go ahead and let's get into the official first story this week. Okay, so I got this story from The Gamer. So this is in quick news. After December 13th, Foam Stars. Yeah, I know Foam Stars. Y'all probably ain't even playing it, but let's just talk about it. Foam Stars will no longer receive new content and season updates will no longer be happening. Now, the game released February 6, 2024, and it will still be available to play, but I'm thinking about it less than a year later. All support creative-wise for this title is gone. It's over. It didn't even make it to 1 year old. The game is pretty much being not dismantled, but people are walking away from it. They took it as far as they could, and they're walking away. And that leads me to the question. It's not a question of the week, but Are we in a time and a space where these gas games that are trying to come out, that are trying to make some headroom, that are trying to, get into the gas game space, is it a situation where it's too crowded and people have already found where they want to play, where it's no more room for any newcomers to come into the space? Because we saw, again, Foam Stars is out of here. We saw what happened with PlayStation's, their other hero shooter that had released and was done 2 weeks later. I forgot the name of that game, just that quick. But y'all know the failure, the epic failure that PlayStation had with that game, which was also trying to get into the gas space. It makes me wonder, is it almost futile to try to make a game to actually compete in the space because so many people already have been invested in Fortnite or Call of Duty or Overwatch? Is the space too crowded where when these games do release, Concord, that was the name of it, Concord is over. That thing lasted 2 weeks and it was a done deal. I just think that at this point in time, when it comes to these gas games, I think these companies might want to fall back. I know it looks like it's big money in it. It is big money, but are you going to be able to fit into that space? And I don't think it's enough room right now for any newcomers into that genre. But I would be interested in hearing what you guys' thoughts are. But right now, PlayStation, y'all are failing big time when it comes to getting any kind of traction when it comes to the gas games that you guys get behind. Y'all might be a bad judge of character when it comes to those kind of games, but we shall see. Let's go ahead though, guys, and let's move into the next story that I also got from The Gamer as well. So if you're anticipating hearing more about Borderlands 4 and you're a huge fan of that franchise, we could be getting some info and possible gameplay very soon because Randy Pitchford said this on Twitter, or if you want to call it X. He said, quote, cooking up a new Borderlands 4 trailer, and it's bad. Y'all know what he's saying. AF. Latest render is knocking me out. I'm not supposed to talk about it yet, but IDGAF. I'm freaking out. Yo. End of quote. So is it possible? Man, what the heck am I doing? What the heck am I doing? You know what? This story has already been updated. Yes. Doggone yes. Borderlands 4 is going to be at the Game Awards. According to Randy Pitchford, he just talked about this earlier. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I'm recording this on Wednesday. I believe he said that the trailer that they're going to be showing is going to be a mixture of actual gameplay and CG. So yeah, gameplay is going to be in there, which is a fantastic thing for people that are Borderlands fans. I can't say I'm not personally, but I know that it's a big franchise and I know it has a big following. So for any of you guys that have been interested in this, tune into the Game Awards. Oh, we're going to be talking about the Game Awards a little bit later, but tune into it to definitely get this trailer. So the next thing, though, let's go ahead and get into the next story because there's no need to really harp on this. Borderlands 4 is going to be there. But let's get into the next story that I got from Town. Now, of course, we have some Nintendo rumors.
Rumor has it is something that only I know.
So Nintendo Switch 2. Oh, man, it's at the forefront. And this time the rumors are coming from Juan A. Finesca at Nintendo Duo, who is claiming, this brother's claiming that not one, but at least 6 development studios have told him that the titles currently in development for the Switch 2 are scheduled to release between June and July of next year. Now, this could mean 2 things. Either these titles will be releasing after the Switch 2 has launched, or the Switch 2 could be releasing in the summer. Now, again, these are rumors, so take this with a mustard seed of truth. And, man, hold on. Golly. Okay, so now we did hear that we won't see or hear anything about the Switch 2 until at least March of next year. We've got rumors that were a couple of weeks ago where they said that the Switch 2 was gonna be released in March of 2025. And now at least 6 of these developers are saying that their games are going to be scheduled to release between June and July. Now, when you talk about 6 different developers, and again, I do want to say this is rumors. So as always, take all of this stuff with a mustard seed of truth. But let's just talk about this moment at hand with these developers, these alleged 6 developers saying their games are going to be releasing between June and July. When you have that many developers talking about releasing in the same window, I can only imagine that realistically, that could only mean one thing, that's when the console is going to release. Because how is it that at least 6 developers, their games are lining up to release at the same time for a brand new console? Now, the thing that's kind of throwing me about it releasing in the summer is we've never, ever, I don't think in the history of gaming, I mean, maybe one time, I think the Sega Saturn might have released sometime in the summer months, and I think it was when they were trying to get a jump on Sony. Hold on, man, we ain't got to think. Let's look this up because that timeline just seems mad interesting. In the summer? When did the Sega Saturn release in the U.S.? All right, it says the Sega Saturn was released in the United States on May 11th, 1995. It was originally scheduled for an autumn release, but Sega announced the early launch at the E3 event. So yeah, so that's not, that's not quite summer, but that's in the warmer months. Yeah, that's about the only time I remember any console releasing during that time of the year. But again, to Nintendo's credit, we had never heard of a console releasing in March either until the Switch 2 back in 2017. So this is definitely on course for something that Nintendo could potentially do, actually releasing their console in the summer. Because usually in the summer in gaming, that's the drought. That's the drought season. Now, not so much for me lately. It's been a ton to play, but normally summertime is a drought. So it would be interesting that Nintendo would use that time to actually release a console, especially when people are usually more so outside doing activities, going on vacations, spending time with family a lot more, going to amusement parks. That would be an interesting play. So again, this is all rumors, but do y'all think that Nintendo would release a console in the summertime? That would be interesting. God dog. Now, the other thing that was in this report was also the rumor about the alleged price point of the Switch 2 console, where Nintendo Duo commented that it would be between 400 to 500 euros, meaning for us in the States, that equals out to around $419 to around $524. Now, I can't stress this enough. These are all rumors again. So, don't take anything, I would say take it at face value. Don't take it that this is actually going to happen. But, yeah, what y'all, man, see, this is so interesting. You're talking about between $400 and $500. We have never seen Nintendo put their console at the same price point as the direct competition. It's always been something they've had in their back pocket. If Xbox was $400, PlayStation was $400, Nintendo would be at $300. They would always undercut their competition. Do you think, is it to the point where Nintendo might be feeling a little cocky right now? We sold all these tens of millions of units with the Nintendo Switch. When we released the Switch 2, we about to kill the game again. Could it be a situation where they feel like, shucks, man, I think we can compete price-wise with these other consoles. I think we can take Sony down. I think we can compete with Xbox. I know Xbox isn't 100% in the fight like they used to be, but they still are around. They're still around, even though your toaster and your refrigerator is an Xbox, according to these jokers. But I digress. Could it be a situation where they might be feeling like, shucks, man, I think we can sell it at that price point, and I think people will actually buy it. I don't know, man. $400 to $500 for some older technology, when you can go out there and you can get a PlayStation 5 and a Series X for pretty much roughly the same price, the digital versions, if not cheaper, at that point in time. Well, I don't know if it's going to be cheaper than that, but at least at the same price point. I don't know, man. And I understand that Nintendo does have a very, very strong first party presence. They got Mario, they got Kirby, they got Zelda, they got Samus. They got Donkey Kong. They have iconic franchises, but them putting their price point at the same price point as their competition, man, I don't know how that's going to work out. I'd be interested to see what happens. I would be extremely interested to see how well Nintendo would actually sell, being a direct competitor price-wise with both Sony and Xbox, or PlayStation and Xbox. I would love to see it. I've been saying it for years that Nintendo has been dodging the fade between them Xbox and PlayStation, they off on their own side of the street. I'm not coming over there with you bad men. I'm not coming over there to fight with y'all. I want to be over here by myself. You know, I've said that for years, that Nintendo is not trying to go one-on-one with Sony or one-on-one with Xbox. They found their own niche. They're staying over there and they're being successful. Them doing this though, putting their price point at the same price point as theirs. Oh, man, that's when it could get a little interesting. And I want to see it. I want to see it so bad. And with this price point, hold on. Could that also mean that maybe the console isn't going to be as far behind technology-wise as we might have thought? Could they be almost... could they be almost on the same playing field as a PS5 and a Series X, or even a Series S for that matter? I don't know about that. I don't know, because I'm thinking about it from this standpoint too. It is a handheld, and that handheld technology can get mad expensive depending on what the specs are. So it could also have to do with how well the actual handheld side of the console is going to be as well, which is making it that high. But I don't know. This is all very, very interesting. And we got the Game Awards coming up, so who knows? I doubt that we'll hear anything at the Game Awards for Nintendo, but they may have some games there. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into the next story. So now this might be a spoiler for some. Okay, so you might want to fast forward about 2, maybe 3 minutes if you don't want to hear about this game that's supposed to be at the Game Awards. Oh, man, daggone. Now that I think of it, doggone, I probably spoiled it with Borderlands 4. My bad, daggone. I should have put out there a spoiler warning. But this time I'm putting it out there. So if you don't want to know another game that's actually going to be at the Game Awards, fast forward this about maybe 2 or 3, about 2 minutes. So I got this from IGN, and the spoiler is coming in 3, 2, 1. All right, so it has been confirmed by the official Mafia Game Twitter account that Mafia the Old Country will be shown at this year's Game Awards, goddamn it. Oh, man, brother. I have been looking forward to this game for a long time, man. I am such a big Mafia fan. And when I heard about this game, them taking it back to Sicily, back to the motherland, back to the beginning of the Mafia, back to those roots. Oh, man, brother. I was so excited when they talked about one of the features of being able to control different territories, being able to, pay money to get buildings and stuff like that. I said, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be so good. Then I heard that Unreal Engine 5. I flipped out. And Cody been sending me stuff about Unreal Engine. I know you had sent me an email, brother, talking about how it could make devs lazy and it could make games look the same and things like that. That was a good email, Cody, but I got to say, brother, man, that Unreal Engine 5 got me, brother. I can't get enough of it. I understand it can have some negative effects further on down the line in gaming. I understand that, but right now we just going to live in the moment, Cody. We just going to live right now. That thing, that engine right there. I was so excited when I found out Mafia was going to be in that. Oh my gosh, the new Mafia was going to be developed in that engine. Goodness gracious, sign me up. So I'm looking forward to it. I just hope that it's gameplay. Please, Jeff Keighley, make sure that it's gameplay, my brother. I want to see the game in action because I was a big Mafia 3 fan. I thought it was a great, man, let me tell you something. Fantastic story. Oh, it was so good. Such a great story. What was his name? Lincoln Clay. Lincoln Clay was a dope character, man. I really, really enjoyed his storyline. I enjoyed the voice acting. The gameplay might not have been it might not have been that great. It was good enough. It was passable, which I'm hoping they'll render with this this upcoming Mafia, because the Mafia remake that they made, oh man, that game was so good too. I enjoyed the heck out of it. Another fantastic story. Their storytelling at Hangar 13 is awesome. They got everything but the gameplay down. Even the graphics were good. They had some real good graphics on both of them games. More so Mafia remake than Mafia 3. Mafia 3 looked okay. But Mafia remake, yeah, they definitely bumped it up a taste. So I'm hoping that they'll take all of those lessons and mesh them together. And this brand new Mafia coming up, Mafia the Old Country, I am so excited to see this game. But let's go ahead, guys. Let's go ahead and get into the next story that I actually got from the Shortcut. So if you're a person still in the market for either a 30th anniversary PS5 or a 30th anniversary PS5 controller, according to Matt Swinder, he's over on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, you may have a chance of finding one or the other before December 12th. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'm recording this on December 12th. So hold on. No, it's December 11th. So by tomorrow, he's saying you might be able to find one of these items. Now, just to give you a little backstory on Matt, he actually helped a lot of people find the Xbox Series consoles as well as the PS5, during the time when they were very, very hard to get. So this guy actually has a pretty good track record on, actually finding these items that are hard to find. But I digress, with that, just to give you a little bit of backstory about the guy. According to him, the stores that will be getting more in are Sam's Club, Walmart, Best Buy, Target, and Amazon. Now, I did check Walmart on Monday, and they did have controllers available to ship, but none of the stores, and I checked all of them, none of the stores had the PS5 30th anniversary in stock. But what Matt is encouraging people to do is that, if you want, to get this piece of PlayStation memorabilia, to follow him over on X to get constant updates. Now, that's up to you guys if you want to do that. Again, this is just limited supply. The PlayStation 5 controller was there, like I said, at Walmart, but nobody, and I do mean nobody, had the console. But it wasn't the 12th. I did that on the 9th, actually. So about 2 days ago, I looked on there. So who knows? That controller is probably gone now. But I would encourage you, go to those stores or, Amazon to check on them to see if they have the stock. And again, if you want to, you can go ahead and follow Matt Swinder over on X to get updates on this situation. Let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Tweak Town. Now, for me, I never want to switch over to PC for my gaming hobby. I prefer console, because of the simplicity. But I would have to ask you guys, how would you feel if a PC-centric company tried to throw their hat in the console ring to go head-to-head with Nintendo, Sony, and, for the time being, Xbox? Would you give them a chance? Now, I talked about it in the intro, so you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about doggone Valve. So, would you give Valve a chance at actually throwing your money down to get behind their console? Because it's become a little interesting, because as it stands, the rumor, now we do have to say it's a rumor, the rumor is Valve is working on a console called, quote, the Valve Fremont, end of quote, which will be TV focused or I should say, which will be a TV-focused console that will allegedly feature a AMD 4 CPU with RDNA 3 GPU with an HDMI port. And according to Brad Lynch from EOZ, which makes VR straps, Quanta Computer will be manufacturing the Valve Fremont device. Now, of course, someone could say, how do you know this isn't just another Steam Deck? Well, Brad Lynch had this to say about that situation. He said, quote, Valve Fremont cannot be docked. The information that @FoxLetFox found for us specifically notes that the full-size HDMI port is hardwired to the host's card, GPU, directly, not connected through USB-C. And again, the GPU in this case would be built into the AMD APU, of course. So very likely not a handheld that can be docked to a TV, but a fully dedicated device with HDMI out as a primary focus. End of quote. So yeah, Valve could be throwing themselves into the console space. My thing is, I'm interested in this because I always think the competition is great. Having a fourth man in the race, I don't know how well that's going to work out. And the other thing about Valve is, what IPs do they have? I mean, I know they got Half-Life, and they're saying that Half-Life 3 is supposed to be happening. I don't know. That'd be crazy if that was at the Game Awards. That'd be pretty darn dope. And they're talking about some kind of advanced physics system with the game and all of this other fly stuff is supposed to be doing. But if you are releasing a console, Valve, you better have some IPs, some exclusive IPs. And I was looking at this show yesterday, this show that was showing off computer games, man, PC game, man, God, dog, man, PC games are terrible. They are horrible. So many of those games, I said, man, what is this? PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, graphics was crazy in a bad way. When it came to looking at these PC games, I'm like, man, if Valve comes out and they're trying to do those kind of games, you ain't gonna make it in the console space. You are going to get stomped out immediately. If you come in there trying to do that PC bull in the console space, you are going to get stomped out quick. Matter of fact, hold on, man, let me see something. Let me see, what IPs do they own? What IPs does Valve own? Hold on, you know what? What gaming IPs does Valve own? Says Valve Corporation or Valve Software is an American video game developer published. Let me see. All right, so these are the things they own. Half-Life, Counter-Strike, Portal, Day of Defeat, Team Fortress, Left 4 Dead, and Dota, and of course they own Steam. Man, you got to be kidding me. Are you kidding me? That's what y'all own? Man, move this man. Man, y'all about to have a long day at the office. Now, granted, Half-Life, classic. Counter-Strike, man, I could care less as a console guy. I don't give a doggone. Portal, yeah, whatever. That's okay. Day of Defeat, I don't even know what that is. Team Fortress, yeah, it had a good run. Left 4 Dead and Dota. Man, if you don't get out of here with this mess, hey, Valve, if you're going to get into the console space, man, you better be striking a bunch of exclusive deals because you ain't going to make it, brother. You are not going to make it in the console space with these type of games. Ain't no darn way. Half-Life 3 ain't gonna move units like that. I don't give a doggone. I know so many people want that game. People are excited. Oh man, Half-Life is gonna be incredible. All of this and that. I guarantee you, if that is a PC exclusive, it ain't gonna sell much. I mean, PC guys will pick it up. I can't imagine a console guy picking up a Valve console for Half-Life 3. Or am I underestimating Half-Life 3? Because I played Half-Life and it was cool. But it didn't, I mean, well, to be fair, I played it years after it came out, so it didn't have the same sting, back on the 360. But I wasn't like blown away like, oh my gosh, how the world did they do this? The orange box, I think it was called, picked it up in the orange box. I was like, yes, I mean, it's cool. I didn't even finish it. So, I mean, from my perspective, I'm like, I don't think Half-Life 3 is going to do too much for your console as far as the sales go. But I mean, nonetheless, if you can pull something off, by getting some exclusives, then you might have a chance. But that lineup right there, whoo, you cooked. You are cooked like some fish in the oven. Man, you about to get baked. I mean, doggone, you about to be over before you even get started. If you're coming to the dance with that, whoo, man. Now the thing is though, too, now if they do have a console, they bring it out. That means that since it is Valve and they own Steam, could that mean that they'll actually have their Steam games available on the console? Now that would be interesting as well, because we heard that was going to be a strategy, well, an alleged strategy that Xbox was going to be doing by bringing Steam to their console. So if Valve does this, does that take away a little bit of the, the allure of getting an Xbox when you can just go to the source and actually have Steam on their console, on Valve's own console? I don't know. It's interesting. Makes me wonder if Steam would probably tell Microsoft, nah, you can't do that now because we got aspirations of getting into the console space ourselves. So now we can't let you do that. It'll be interesting, man. But nonetheless, this is what's going on right now. Valve, again, I would like to see it. I would like to see how they do, because I'm always a fan of competition, but being realistic about it, man, coming to the table with that right there, Valve, oh my gosh, you setting yourself up for failure. So hopefully they can get some things going. But again, this is all rumors, so we'll have to see what happens in the future. Let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from WCCF Tech. So let's get into some positive Xbox rumors. So according to Spanish leaker Estas Ones, does it spell EXTAS with the number 1 and S? The Xbox console exclusive South of Midnight could be making an appearance at the Game Awards, with a release announcement being made at the event for the upcoming title with a March 2025 release date. Now, like I always say, when it comes to rumors, take this all with a mustard seed of truth. But how dope would it be? Because right now, Xbox, they got some momentum. Indiana Jones has come out to an 87. Best game they've released this year. It's putting them on a good track. South of Midnight looks like a hit. It looks like they got one with that. And we also heard that, now this was another thing. This is going to kind of go, it's going to coincide with what I'm talking about when it comes to South of Midnight and the Game Awards. But it is something going around right now that Xbox is their appearance, them being at the Game Awards might be a little scarce because they're gearing up for their January show. And we know that, man, last year that show was thumping. That was a good doggone show. So it seems like they're going to be gearing up for that. So it might be a little scarcity when it comes to their games being at this Game Awards. But we'll see what happens. But just going back to South of Midnight, How awesome would that be, man? You pretty much starting the year off. You're ending the year on a good note, and you're possibly starting the year on a good note. Oh, we haven't seen that from Microsoft, and I don't know how long. I don't know how long it's been that they ended the year with something good and they started the year with something good. It's like every time I get excited about the Xbox brand, they do something. They always do something to make me look at them and just feel like, what are you doing, man? I sit there and I just look and I go, it's the hurt. Every time I start believing in these guys, I'm like, oh man, they turning the ship around. Oh my goodness, it's not sinking like the Titanic anymore. Things are getting better. And they just do something to just completely blow up what they just did. Oh man, so I'm hoping that this rumor is true. I'm hoping that South of Midnight releases in March and that it's a great game, because graphically, oh man, that game looks so good. The allure, the story, it feels like it's an original story. Gameplay looks good, and it's going to be a shorter experience. I'm not mad at that. I think they said 12 to 15 hours, somewhere around there. I'm good with that. That's great for me. I don't mind, but we'll see what happens with this at the Game Awards. If we see it at the Game Awards and it gets that March release date, oh man, goodness gracious. Xbox fans, you have something to cheer for with this one right here. But we will see. Let's go ahead though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Tom's Guide. So PlayStation VR2 looks to be getting an update to some of the tasks that the unit will be capable of performing. Now, according to a report from UploadVR.com, who wrote up a description on the Sony booth that was present at SIGGRAPH 2024, where they stated that hand tracking is available with the latest SDK of PlayStation, which, if accurate, would essentially mean game developers could integrate the feature in any PSVR2 game and make it so you could control your VR character with the movement of your actual hands and not a controller. And not only that, it appears that PSVR2 offers low latency and smooth hand tracking at 60 frames per second. 60 frames per second. Now, at the moment, Sony has not made an official announcement about the feature, but like we were talking about just a couple of minutes ago, maybe at the Game Awards, we could possibly get further information about this piece of added technology to the PSVR 2. This is incredible. Being able to actually have the unit be able to actually track your hand movements, which means that you would be able to use your hands to pick up certain items in a certain way, moving each finger individually to maybe push a button, with your index finger. I mean, it could really bring a more immersive feeling to the games. And I will say this, man, God dog, shout out to the PSVR 2, because with that price drop at $350, at least on Amazon, that thing was tracking so low, it was just slightly, and I do mean a hair, above 0% of units being sold. As soon as that thing went on sale for $350, that joker shot up to over 25,000 units over on Amazon. Shout out to them. That's what you do. Put the unit at a price that people want to pay. And again, I thought that's what Xbox would have done. They had a golden opportunity. $400, even $350 for the Series X. If you're trying to move units, if you're really serious, $350 for the Series X, $200 for the Series S. I guarantee you they would have got some sales. So again, price, man, that price point is everything. Everything. And I will say, now I don't want to say his name, because I mean, we were talking on the phone, so I don't want to share the actual person's name, but we had a conversation. He picked up the PSVR2, and he said, I asked him, I said, was it worth the money? Was it worth the $350? He said, now I'm going to tell you this. If I paid $600 for it, I'd have been a little disappointed. I wouldn't have been really feeling it. Well, he ain't say he wouldn't really be feeling it. He just said he would have been a little disappointed. But he said at that $350 price point, oh, it was well worth the money. Well worth it. And it seems, matter of fact, man, let's look this up. Let me see something. Because it seems like this has lasted longer than Black Friday. Let me see. Is the PlayStation VR2 still $350? Let me see. All right, so Sam's Club, $350. Target, $350. Walmart, well, Walmart still got it for $449. Best Buy, $350. And this is for the bundle. The Horizon, what's that joint called? Horizon Call of the Wild or whatever. It's $350. Let me pull it up to make sure. Yeah, Sam's Club, $349 even. Is it available? And it's available. So yeah, they said bump the doggone Black Friday deal. We getting traction with this thing. Let's keep it here. And I don't know how long they're going to keep it there for, probably for the rest of the holidays. But they're like, let's keep it at this price point because people are actually buying the unit. Let's go. Let's get the money. And in my opinion, again, if Xbox was really, really trying to compete like that, if they were really trying to get at least somewhat of a bigger foothold in the console race, they would have done the same thing. That $50, that ain't going to cut it, brother. You know, $450 for the Xbox Series X, man, that ain't going to do it. And then, I mean, I believe they did have the white one. I think the digital one, I think that might have been $400, but I don't want an all digital console. I need the disc drive. Man, I'm old. I'm 45 years old. I come from that cloth where I want not the digital. I want the physical copy. I'm not giving you $400 for a digital only console, and I can't control how much I want to pay for the games at the store. Again, man, that inflation is crazy sometimes. And that's always my fear with going all digital. If we go all digital, we are at these companies' mercy when it comes to paying how much they want us to pay for their games. Because as long as the stores like Best Buy, and I understand that they are getting smaller when it comes to their selection of physical games, but you know, as long as GameStop, Target, Best Buy, Walmart, as long as these places are around, we still have competition in the market, you know, for the pricing of these games. But you take that away, man, they could charge us $100. And if it's no other way to get the game except for on their digital storefront, because we no longer have disk drives, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. Nothing. It's not going to be a way of competing against that. So I'm always going to be against, no matter how much they try to push towards the digital only future when it comes to gaming. I'm always going to be against it because, again, I don't want them having a monopoly telling me, well, you're going to pay this much if you want to play the game. And there's nobody else I can go to try to get it cheaper, man. You are crazy. But we'll see what happens, though, man. But anyway, with this PSVR2 situation, this is awesome. It's just another added feature. Of course, we got to wait for them to officially announce it. But like I said, it's SIGGRAPH 2024. This was shown up. Man, what the heck is SIGGRAPH? Man, let's look that up real quick. What is SIGGRAPH, man? Let me see. Hold on. We want to try to look this up right now. Here we go. All right. What is SIGGRAPH? Says SIGGRAPH. Oh, it stands for Special Interest Group on Computer Graphics and Interactive Techniques. It says a community. Okay, it says it's a community of professionals and researchers who share an interest in computer graphics and interactive techniques. SIGGRAPH is a special interest group within the Association for Computing Machinery, the world's largest computing society. Oh, okay, it says the premier conference on the premier conference on computer graphics and interactive techniques, first held in 1974. God dog. In Boulder, Colorado. The main conference is usually held in North America, but SIGGRAPH also holds an annual conference in Asia called SIGGRAPH Asia. Okay, so that actually makes sense because like I was telling you guys in the report, it was saying that, let me find it. It said, uploadvr.com. It said they wrote up a description on the Sony booth that was present at SIGGRAPH 2024. So yeah, it must have been more like a translation. I'm taking it. So that's how they actually came up with them understanding that it was hand tracking technology that was being built into the PSVR2 pretty much as a update for the most part. So yeah, this is cool, man. You never know, man. Golly, this stuff been around since 1974. I've never even heard of SIGGRAPH until now, but this is dope though. But anyway, let's go ahead though, guys, because I'm getting long-winded with this one. Let's go ahead and let's get into the next story that I actually got from MSN. Now, this story. Now I know I'm late reporting on this, but Marvel Rivals on PS5 will target 60 frames per second at 1440p. Now the PS5 Pro version will run at the same frame rate, but the resolution will be closer to 4K. Now, they will also offer a high frame mode that will run up to 120 frames on both consoles. Now, these features, these features will be available for the Xbox Series X as well, but the high frame mode will not be available for the Series S. It'll run at the standard 60 frames per second on the S, however, but not 120 frames. And I actually saw a video. I wish I could give the person credit because it wasn't Digital Foundry. It was somebody else, but they were doing a frame rate counter, and the Series X at that 120 frames, man, that thing was pretty darn good. I think it was averaging around 117 frames per second, which I was like, whoa, that is very, very, very impressive that it was at 117. It would get up to 120, then it would drop back down. So it was hovering, like I said, average 117. But the PlayStation 5 Pro, now that joker right there, man, that power. Oh, that power of Grayskull was on display with that because that thing was at almost 120 flawlessly. The lowest it would drop was to 119 and it would bump right back up to 120. It would not go under 119. I was like, good gosh, that is impressive. So, and of course, it's a stronger console. It's $700. It darn well should be doing 120 frames per second, with no hiccups pretty much for the most part, so, with that, it's definitely being shown the power of the PS5 Pro. That is definitely one game right there where you can say, oh man, you can see the power, the extra overhead of that console being put to good use. So yeah. So for any of you guys that are interested in this, again, Marvel Rivals, it's out already. Seems to be doing quite well. Seems to be doing good. And now that also kind of goes back to the question I had, the gas games. Now, this almost seems like an Overwatch, not a clone at all, not a clone, but the art style reminds me of Overwatch a lot. And it seems, again, that this game is having success, but I do believe that a big reason for the success of this game is because they actually have Marvel characters that are starring in the game. We're talking about Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wolverine, big names that are appearing in this game. Would the game be this successful without those characters? I would have to say I don't think it would be. But with the allure of these characters, it definitely gives the game a bit of an edge when you compare it to something like, it's an unfair comparison, but they're gas games, so that's why I'm mentioning it, but something like Concord, where they were trying to be almost like a knockoff Guardians of the Galaxy, to a certain degree. You're just not going to have the same success as actual Marvel characters. So we'll see, though. We'll see how long this lasts. Now, that's going to be the key. Is it going to make it through a year? Is it going to make it through a whole winter and a whole summer, and still be a game that people are still playing very actively? We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. The one thing, though, that I do like about the game, and it's running on Unreal Engine 5, goddog it. I do love the fact that the environments are destructible. Man, that joint was dope. Looking at that video, seeing the destruction of the environments, I was like, oh man, that's nice. That's a nice added feature. So we'll see, though. We'll see what the legs are on Marvel Rivals as the weeks, months, and possibly the year goes on. Will it still be as hot next winter as it is this winter? We'll see. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Games Radar. Now we don't see it. I have to say this. I don't think we see it as much in this generation, but last gen, we would see games getting announced years before they were released. And I used to wonder why. Why was that the case? Why would you be talking about a game that isn't going to release for another 3 years? Why would you put it out there for us to see it? Yeah, it gets us excited in the beginning. It's cool to see. It's dope. But then you start looking at your watch like, God, dog, when is it going to come out? Well, we got a little inside baseball to this method on why it's done. And this breakdown comes from Del Walker, whose resume, let me read his resume off to you. It includes him working for Respawn. He was at Sega, Rocksteady, and Naughty Dog. Now, he starts off by using funding as the first reason why this happens because, quote, he says, teasers are aimed at investors or publishers' confidence. If that YouTube view count gets high enough and the comments are popping, then the directors can secure a higher investment or justify that wild requested budget. End of quote. So yeah, I guess basically he's saying that, when it comes to these trailers, the funding, cause that's the most important thing. If you don't have the money, then, you're not going to have the investment to make the game that you want to make. But by them actually putting that trailer out early, they can gauge, whether or not, how successful the game is going to be, based off of YouTube video counts of how many people have watched the trailer and things of that nature. And then they can possibly justify getting that higher budget because it's like, man, look how many people are looking forward to the game. Look at the counter. And I understand that a view doesn't necessarily, he's not saying this, but I'm saying it. I understand a view doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be a person that's going to buy your game, but just having those eyes on the game, having enough eyes on any particular game is going to work out in its favor because you're going to get somebody with the bait. Somebody's going to take the bait and they're going to be excited to support the game. So again, funding is the first thing he talked about. Now, the second reason why they show off these trailers so early is to attract talent. Now, if you want to get, top tier talent, this is what he's saying. If you want to get top tier talent, such as coders, designers, and artists to join your project, you have to show off something exciting enough to make them want to relocate to, quote, a new city to turn a good game into a great one, end of quote. So yeah, getting talent, attracting talent to the game. If you want that, I mean, you're not going to get them, but if you want like a Neil Druckmann-esque person to actually get behind your game, and that's the thing, I would have thought that, maybe not Neil Druckmann because he's like a lead and a director, but I would have thought that when they were showing off these trailers, though, they would have already had the team established. They would already have people in place. But I've heard that the real push for game development doesn't come into play until maybe like the last 18 months of the game's development. Hold on, let's look that up so I'm not just making up stuff and lying to y'all, because I don't want to lie to y'all. Let's see. When does the hardest part of game development begin? It says the hardest part of game development often begins during the production phase when the core mechanics and features are being actively implemented, requiring a high level of course. Well, maybe that wasn't the right question. I'll come back to it later. I don't want to keep wasting time. Oh, man, golly, I would like to know, though. Is it the last 18 months when it's the biggest push, when things start coming together? We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But the next reason is to counter leaks. Now, he says, quote, sometimes a 12-second game teaser is there to set the tone, end of quote. So basically to avoid what happened to GTA 6, pretty much, where instead of seeing an unfinished product that was leaked, you get to see exactly what the game is going to be. So yeah, to counter those leaks, because man, when people saw that Grand Theft Auto 6, people that don't understand game development, and I don't understand it, but you can tell when a game is still being developed. You see the polygons are looking real polygonal out there, a lot of squares, a lot of just dead space in the background, nothing really going on. You can tell that they're working on it. But for some people that may not know that and looking at it like, man, this thing looks absolutely horrific. What happened, Rockstar? Y'all used to be amazing at this. What is this? So again, in order to avoid, those leaks happening and a game looking a certain way, they can get out there, put that trailer out there to let you see, no, this is exactly how the game looks. So yeah, he put that down there. Now, the other reason is to control expectations. Now, pretty much meaning if you thought a studio was working on a sequel to one of your favorite games, and you see a trailer for a new IP, then to not expect the sequel to said game. Like me, whenever I think of People Can Fly, and they just laid off a lot of people too, unfortunately. But when I think of People Can Fly, I automatically think of Bulletstorm. I've been waiting for a Bulletstorm sequel forever. So whenever I see their name and they say new game coming, I'm automatically thinking, hopefully it's a Bulletstorm sequel. I hope so. And my dreams have been dashed thus far. They have not went back to that franchise yet, or that IP yet. So I can understand this, where you start thinking, man, the expectation is this, and then it's that, and you're like, well, the trailer dashed my dreams, but at least I'm not under the impression that they're working on a game that I actually was hoping that they would be, working on, like Demon Souls or Dark Souls from Software. I'm sure a lot of people believe that, whatever they work on, it's going to be a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls game because it's From Software. But they have said, From Software, that other games are coming. They're going to be working outside of those games. So again, showing off a trailer, helps to set those expectations, as it were. Now, the other reason is marketing, meaning if if said developer says we're going to have a sci-fi game take place between, I don't know, Jupiter and Pluto, then that signals to competitors that they have to do something different with their premise to avoid an identical comparison. I guess, you know what? Pretty much like Tencent's upcoming title named Light of, what's it called? Motorium, something like that, man. That thing is a straight rip off of Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West, the robots, doggone robot, dinosauric, prehistoric thing, whatever you fighting in that game. I mean, everything looks like they just ripped it completely off of Guerrilla Games. Like they had certain scenes in that game. If I didn't know that wasn't Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West, if I didn't know it wasn't that, I would have thought that's for sure something coming from Guerrilla Games when this is a Tencent Horizon knockoff. So yeah, with them actually going out there early and putting out there, look, this is the kind of game we're making. This is the premise. This is what we're doing. Again, it puts other developers on standby that, oh, shucks, they working on something like that. Well, we might have to switch up the flavor. They beat us to the punch. Now we're going to look like we're copying their homework instead of doing our own. Maybe we need to go in a different direction. So he said that that's another reason why as well. So, yeah, just a couple of things to think about when these trailers actually release very early and we don't hear anything from the game for many years. It's just a couple of things you can refer back to as to reasons why they do this. But we'll see. I mean, we're still waiting on Wolverine. We're still waiting on, I know it got canceled, but then it got picked back up. The Star Wars remake, Knights of the Round Table remake. We saw that a couple of years ago at this point. We saw the Star Wars game from Quantic Dreams, one of my favorite developers, a couple of years ago. I mean, we might see it this year. Who knows, man? We might. But yeah, it's quite a few trailers now that I think of it that we have seen that have yet to come to fruition. So just a little bit of food for thought. Whenever we see some trailers and we're wondering what the heck happened, Wonder Woman, anybody? But anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from WCCF Tech. So a few weeks ago, we heard Phil Spencer say there were no, quote, red lines when it comes to their exclusives going to other platforms. Now, in perfect, and I do mean picture perfect Xbox fashion, it looks like the messaging has once again become unclear because Matt Booty, the Xbox president of game content and studios, has come and made a statement. He has come out to make a statement by saying, quote, "We are very much making the exclusivity and windowing decisions on a game by game basis. And each of our studios is in a little bit of a different position. There's also the production timeline on a game. So the decision on spacing comes there first. We want to make sure there's a great experience for our Xbox players. And then the gap between when it becomes available on PlayStation is as much a production decision as it is anything else. This is a game that was in production before we acquired Bethesda even." End of quote. Now that last part, he was talking about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, talking about that they had picked up that studio after that game was already in the works, meaning that quite possibly maybe they had to talk to Disney, or Disney told them, hey, look, the deal was that this was going to be available on all platforms. So flip it, rub it, however you need to make it work in your favor, but it has to release on other platforms. And I mean, I get it. The licensing, all of that stuff, it can definitely make it a little, a little dicey, depending on what it is, the terms and all. So, I mean, with that being said, probably was no way that they could have avoided putting it on PlayStation. But we've seen this in the past. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush, that didn't have to go over. That game, good grief, it looked like it was a point and click from like 1995. I forgot the name of that game, but that didn't have to go over there either, along with Grounded and, other titles. A lot of titles that went over there. They didn't need to go over there, so they already set the precedent that, look, this is going to happen. Yeah, you'll have it on Xbox for a little bit, but all of these games are eventually going to go over to PlayStation. And then they're making the announcement about Indiana Jones at the doggone Summer Game Fest or whatever it was, Jeff Keighley's other show. That was horrific. That was horrendous. That show was terrible. But it was announced there. And I mean, again, it set the precedent. Phil Spencer went out there. He talked with IGN, Ryan McCaffrey, and he said on the stage, more games are coming. He set the precedent. But now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Matt Booty comes out. No, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. That's what we're going to be doing. Case by case. Okay. Well, quote, game-by-game basis. I'm like, here we go again. Everybody, yet again, not on the same page. And this is what I mean. They say one thing and then months later is something else. The messaging changes so doggone much. You get in your mind as an Xbox fan, all right, I'll just have to deal with the fact that the games are going to be coming over to PlayStation. They already said it. They're showing it. They're not just saying it, but they're showing it in their actions that this is happening. Okay, I'll just have to accept it. And now you have Matt Booty coming out there saying, no, wait. That's not quite it. Now we're going to be doing it on a game-by-game basis. Now it gets the fan base wondering, oh, shucks, maybe we are going to have exclusives. Really? Oh, man, I wonder what exclusives we're actually going to have. It's this wishy-washiness of the messaging that I can't stand when it comes to the Xbox brand. That's why I had to hop off. I had to hop off the train. I jumped off that joker while I was moving. I said, oh, man, darn that. The landing has got to be better than this. I'm jumping off this train. It's going to hurt a little bit. I'm going to roll on some gravel. But darn it, I'm going to get up, brush myself off. PlayStation, I'm coming to see you. I'm coming to see y'all because I don't know what the heck is going on over here with this brand. I had to hop off, man. I mean, it's stuff like this. Now, I guarantee the fan base is going to be like, oh, we got exclusives again, y'all. This game ain't going to PlayStation. That game ain't going to PlayStation. South of Midnight ain't going over there. Fable ain't going over there. Of course, Horizon, the racing game, that's not going over there. And then all of a sudden, a year later, oh, shucks, Starfield's over there now. What the world? What the world? How are you going to keep doing this to your fan base? Get a message, stick with that message, and move forward. Darn all of this turning and twisting and moving and up. Man, shoot, stay the course. If your games are going to other platforms, just have them go over to the platform. Forget this stuff. All of this wishy-washy messaging. Mad Booty, man, I don't know, man. Do y'all, listen, are y'all under the assumption that some kind of way games are no longer going over to PlayStation? I don't think so. Starfield might get announced at the Game Awards that is coming to dog on PlayStation. That's where I'm at right now. I don't believe anything that these jokers say out of their mouth. I don't believe none of it. They say so much stuff. Hey, Sarah Bond, good sister Sarah Bond, my sister. Now, you said over the summer, or was it in February? Might have been in the winter. I can't even quite remember. This stuff starts doggone bleeding together after a while. But Sister Bond, you did say that you would be showing off some kind of hardware by the end of the year. I mean, it's December 11th. Tomorrow's December 12th, the big day. Game Awards. Are we going to see this hardware that you were talking about? I mean, golly. I mean, end of the year, even if it's a teaser, stay tuned to the January show, the January Xbox show. I give it that. Even just a mention of it. But you on the clock, Sister Bond. You are on the clock. And that's what I'm saying. Again, it's not over yet, so I'm not holding I am holding her feet to the fire, but, you know, it's still time on the clock, so she can still get the play off. You know, but, oh, no, you're getting into the fourth quarter right now. This is the fourth quarter. I mean, are we going to see some hardware? Like I said, if they even tease it, then, you know, hey, you got it. You said what you said. You did what you said you were going to do. But we'll see, man. This messaging has to stop. It just has to stop. It's just so frustrating. Are you frustrated? Xbox fans out there, are you frustrated by this? Cody Clark, my good brother. Are you frustrated when you hear this kind of stuff? 1 minute they're doing this, the next minute they're doing that. I mean, it is so, I don't know. I don't want to keep going on a rant right here. We'll see what happens with this. I'm just confusion right now. Crimson Phoenix, as an Xbox fan, my brother, do you still believe that there's going to be some lines in the sand or red lines where certain games are not going to go to certain platforms? I'd like to know. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's move on into the next story that I actually got from Inverse. Now, Rocksteady Studios will be ending support of their title, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, they said this, quote, season 4 will finish up with let me read that again. Quote, season 4 will finish up with episode 8, which is scheduled to release in January 2025, and that will serve as the last seasonal episode for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. End of quote. Now, they did say that online features will continue to be available. So at least from that perspective, they're not shutting the game down. Just support for the game is going away again after January of 2025. Suicide Squad, I have that game. I played about an hour of it and I was enjoying it. I was having a good time with it. That game has had a tumultuous, life. That game has had a very, very hard life, man. A lot of people were expecting it to be one thing, ended up being another. Just wasn't as successful. I know they said that when the price of the game dropped over Black Friday, they did get a bit of an influx of players. It was, a few people that joined in. So they were doing, I'm not going to say they were doing good with selling the game, but they did see some extra traffic. They saw some more people coming in and playing the game, which is always good. I mean, no matter how small it is, any progress is good progress, long as you're going forward. So, just unfortunately, this is going to be it. I will say though, with the game having as bad of a launch as it had and not selling as great, I'm sure as WB Games would have liked for it to, I gotta give them credit for, getting up to 8 episodes, and getting up to season 4, with a game that had a very tumultuous, launch, them consistently, putting money up to make the game better, adding characters. I think Deathstroke is going to be the last character that they add to the game. But doing that, I mean, hey man, I tip my hat to y'all, man. I tip my hat. 'Cause they tried. They tried. I mean, usually when a game isn't doing great, they cut off all lines of money going to it and support pretty much right away. Again, look at Foam Stars. Game didn't do well. It didn't even make it a year. It didn't even make it a year, that it was going to be getting support. At least with this game, got a nice amount of support. But what I want to do now, though, I want to, Cody, I've been mentioning your name, brother, and you always send in emails, and I always appreciate it, brother. I always want to at least try to get to some of your emails here, brother. Let me look up what you sent me. All right, here we go. All right, the title of this email from the good brother, the OG of the show, Cody Clark, is silly specs for the new laptop. Oh, I was asking Cody about this in the last episode. What was the specs on the laptop that he got? So it is a Lenovo LOQ 15 by 6 inch gaming laptop, FHD, AMD Ryzen 7 7435HS with 16 gigs of memory. Oh man, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060. Woo, brother. Oh, that joint is nice. 8 gigs. Man, a 4060, 8 gigs with 512 gigabytes SSD. Daggone. Okay, now the email reads, this is, dag, you got that joker for a good price too, brother. He says, this machine is like the 23 model or whatever. The new hotness is the 4070 or whatever. But like used cars, always wait a year and give it 2 sets of eyes and a deep breath before you buy. He says, hopefully this will give me a good 5 to 6 years of productivity and so gaming. Most of my time will still be on my Xbox, at least till June, when Game Pass Ultimate finally runs out from my initial purchase. I'll just be browsing Steam for A and AA games in the meantime. If I find any diamonds in the rough, I'll try to share. In the meantime, I have to work on my personal growth and mental health. Absolutely, brother. Hug your friends, your family, and your pets. You need love. They need love. And smile. No, he says, and a smile means a lot more than you realize. Cody Clark, as always, brother, thank you for this email, my man. I appreciate you. You ain't lying, man. A smile can sometimes, it can brighten a person's day at times. Being kind to people doesn't cost anything, and it's really, really a good message, Cody. Hug the people you love, man. Tell them you love them, because you don't know how long you're going to have them for. It's the holidays. A lot of people, are unfortunately with people that they, are not with people that they once loved, y'all know, both of my parents, they've passed away. They've been passed away now for, man, my dad, I believe it's been about 9 years, close to 10 actually. And my mother has been about 12. So this time of year, it's not like super difficult. It does get easier. I will say it gets easier, as time goes on. But this time of year, I just think about them in a good way. It doesn't make me sad. It makes me think about the amazing Christmases a brother had. Man, we got to talk about that baby next week about, your Christmas, mornings and the things you got. Anyway, but yeah, Cody, it's a great message, man. Definitely tell people you love them and keep your loved ones close too, man. But let's get into some of this gaming stuff, man. I ain't got to get all heavy on this episode. But yeah, man, listen, brother. Now I remember you told me something, Cody. You told me, brother, that, you were looking on PC and there wasn't really nothing there for you. I mean, here it is. The good brother Cody Clark did say, let me find it. He said, most of my time will be on my Xbox, at least until June. Yeah. Now question. Now hold on, Cody. Hold on, brother. Now you said that your Game Pass Ultimate is going to be running out in June. So are you going to re-up on the Game Pass, my brother? Or are you going to let it fall to the side? I'm just curious to know. I mean, here it is. Cody has this, man, this is kind of a beastly rig, if you ask me. RTX 4060, man, with 8 gigs. I mean, god dog, man. I mean, Cody, this joint looks real nice. But are you saying, my brother, that even with all of that power that this PC, this laptop PC has, you are still going to be on the Xbox, my friend? Oh, you got to let me know. And are you re-upping your subscription on Game Pass? Because, I mean, look, granted, man, that Indiana Jones, that thing is slamming and whamming right now. It's boom, boom, bamming. It's out there doing things. It's moving out here in these gaming streets. It is. You got South of Midnight coming up possibly in March. Another game. Something else may drop in January. I don't know. But are you saying, Cody, that you're not going to re-up? That those things are not enough of an incentive to keep you in Game Pass? Now, of course, I'm jumping to conclusions. You didn't say that. But when you say that it's about to run out in June, and June is 6 months away, it's a half a year away. You know, so it ain't like it's next week sometime. You got plenty of time to think about this. But the question is, though, Cody, are you going to re-up on your Game Pass? That's the question to you, man. And I mean, it's so interesting, though. You know, that Cody, he's a console guy just like me. And it seems like, again, he's not that impressed with what games are being offered on PC. I want to know, is there any console guys out there right now that have switched to PC, that are listening to this episode right now, that are saying, nah, PC got a ton of stuff that I love to play. I mean, they got this, they got that, Counter-Strike and all of this other stuff. Or are you in the same boat as myself and Cody, where you look over there on Steam and you say, man, there's a lot of mess over here. You know, nothing that really tickles my fancy, my gaming fancy, as it were. I'm just curious to know. Cody, I want to see if I can get to one of your other emails, man. But again, man, this is a dope laptop, man. That joker looks real good. Let me see, what's another one I can pull up here, Cody? Let me see. Yeah, because I went over the problems that you said that the Unreal Engine 5 was going to have. I remember you had sent me that. Your email actually was titled Problems with Unreal Engine 5. You said a take on Unreal 5 and how it can cause lazy development and developers. The old too much choice causing more problems than they solve. Yeah, that was a good video, man. It really was. It went over some good points. And I get it. I understand that, you know, them being able to bring in other developers that are familiar with Unreal Engine 5, they can just kind of slide right on in. I mean, it has some benefits though, Cody. It does. And it looks so good right now. Again, what is it? That opinion, it could be true, you know, later on down the line. I mean, we'll have to see how it all turns out, you know, eventually. I mean, I know all of the games could start looking the same. That was another thing that was said, you know, where games may start looking, you know, too much alike. And we get that Horizon Forbidden West situation with Tencent, you know, going on, where it's like, man, that game looks just like the other game I just played, you know, which would be horrible for gaming where everything looks the same. But hopefully that won't be the case. But Cody, again, brother, I appreciated that email as well. Let me see. What was another one you sent? Let me see. Wait a minute. What time is it? I got enough time for one more. Let me see. The other email you sent, Cody, was exec speaks Space Marine 2 obliterated AAA. Yeah, I saw this. Now your email says, I wasn't aware. Is Space Marine 2 a AA game? What even is a AAA game if everyone uses the freaking Unreal Engine? I can see you don't like it, Cody. the freaking Unreal Engine 5 engine and sucking eggs and optimizing for each platform. I hear you, Cody, but did you see the graphics on that game? No, man, did you see how good that game looks? Matter of fact, that guy was talking, Cody, in that video that you sent me. The same guy that worked on Doom, what was it? Doom Eternal, I believe. He said that, Space Marine 2 with a lower budget actually sold more than Doom Eternal, and I believe it made more money than Doom Eternal as well. It came out the gate to a huge success. They did more with less, pretty much. I think the team wasn't as big. I believe he was saying that, compared to the Doom team, Space Marine 2 was a much smaller team, but they also talked about the cutting of the costs because I believe that, what's it, Sledgehammer? I think that's the name of the developer over at Space Marines. He said that they were, and my memory is terrible, Cody, but he was saying something I do believe where their studio was in Austin, Texas, I believe, but that wasn't the whole story. I think he said they had some developers that were in Poland as well that were working on the game. And because of the developers being in different parts of the world, it actually helped to keep the costs down. So from my understanding, Cody, I always thought that the difference between the AA and the AAA game was the budget. Matter of fact, man, we got Google. We can see what it is. What's the difference between a AA and AAA game? It says the main difference between AA and AAA games, is the budget and scale of their production. It says a AAA game, it says these games are made with the largest budgets and production values and are known for their high quality graphics, storytelling, and marketing. AAA games are often developed by large teams across multiple offices and can sell millions of copies upon release. Examples of AAA games include Assassin's Creed, FIFA, and Final Fantasy. So but with that Unreal Engine 5, and I keep on saying Unreal Engine 5, but I'm kind of embellish it a little bit when I keep bringing up Unreal Engine. But outside of Unreal Engine, you got, what's the other engine? Doggone, I just thought of it. It was the engine that Ori and the Blind Forest was made in. It's another popular engine. They kind of came under fire for charging people more money to use the engine. Dag, I can't think of the name of it. But, you have so many different options out there. Unity, the Unity engine. It's so many engines out there, Cody, that graphics, I have to say graphics aren't really a problem because you got AA games. Like I said, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, that game was beautiful. And that was considered a AA game. So graphics, I remember I do know that that's always part of the AAA charm of what makes a AAA game great is the production, graphics, things of that nature. But with these smaller teams, they're actually doing darn well when it comes to their graphical prowess of what they're able to do. The Ascent, that was another game, another AA game. Think it had a team of maybe 13 people or 15 people. It was a small team, but they were able to make a game that even though it might not have been AAA, the graphics, man, were incredible. They were great looking graphics for a AA game, so we live in a time where things are just so different when it comes to that, being able to get better results for a cheaper price. But they say that they define a AA game, Cody, as it says these games are made with smaller budgets than AAA games, but still aim for high quality. AA games are often developed by smaller teams or solo developers and are a balance between creativity and commercial appeal. Examples of AA games include Life is Strange, A Plague Tale, Innocence, and Remember Me. Oh man, I forgot about Remember Me. No pun intended. darn. Yeah, that game looked good too. So yeah, that's the difference, Cody. But yeah, we just live in a time, man, where things are just a lot more easily accessible. You're able to do a lot more with less. I mean, I remember, man, years ago when you wanted to, when an artist wanted to record an album, you had to go to the studio, pay for studio time. You needed a producer to be in there with you. Somebody that was doing not an A&R. Yeah, it might have been an A&R. Yeah, A&R that was in there. Now you can get the same results, maybe not like 100% as good as going in there and actually recording in the studio. You can do it from home. You get a laptop, you got an MPC, you got a good, like a really good microphone. Man, you do it in the comfort of your own house, with very minimal equipment to get it done, for a fraction of the price of what it used to cost to actually go into a studio, book a session, and have to get all of these people involved. You get a dope producer, you get a person that knows, a little bit about, the mixing board and things of that nature. Do it for a fraction of what it used to be. And that's just the kind of day and age that we're in, Cody. But sorry, brother, I went off on a complete tangent. Man, my bad, Cody. But shout out to you, brother, for that email. Let me see if I can get to one more of your emails, Cody, if I can find it. Let me see. I think that's all I got right now, Cody. But, man, listen, if I find them, I'm sure some more in here. Yeah, I got two more, Cody. I got two more. But for the sake of time, my brother, I'm going to have to get to them next week. But, Cody, again, brother, I always appreciate you writing in. And, again, thank you so much, brother, for your support, my brother. And again, if you want to be a part of listener feedback, you can either call in, like I always say, or you can email the show. But guys, let's get into the next story that I have, and we are almost finished. Matter of fact, this is the last story. So I got this story from GameSpot. So Astrobot will be getting a new free level added to the game called Winter Wonder Level, which is a Christmas themed level. Now, the only catch is you will have had to have beaten the game in order to get access to it. Now, this level will be available tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or if you're on the West Coast, that's going to be 6 p.m. West Coast time. I tell you, Team Asobi, that is the game that I want to see win Game of the Year. That's the one. They have continued to show support for Astrobot. They had those levels coming out one every week. Now at the end of the year, they're giving another free level. And I got to say, shout out to Sony. Sony, man, look, it's a couple things I got to say about Sony. One, that 30th anniversary theme that they have going on the PlayStation 5 right now. Oh my gosh. I turned my PS5 on and that joker made the original PlayStation screen come up. The vroom, from the original PlayStation. I said, what the heck is going on? What is this? It was for the 30th anniversary. These jokers know how to get you excited about their brand. I saw that. I said, daggone, what a way to celebrate 30 years. 30 years of being in the console business. Not only are they putting out there the limited edition 30th anniversary console and the controller, but if you couldn't afford that, they still made you feel like you were a part of the celebration by just giving you the themes. They just put them in there, man. Incredible. It seems like every year, too, just getting back to Astrobot, Sony does something for the holidays, something for Christmas. Y'all remember the last time it was God of War. It was the free DLC that they had for God of War Ragnarok. That came out last year. Now this year they have Astrobot giving you an extra level for free. I mean, they just know how to treat their customer fan base, man. Shout out to Sony. Man, they know how to make a brother feel special. I'm telling you. Anyway, guys, that is the end of the gaming news this week, which brings us to the final section of the podcast. It will be no video game theater this week, but it brings us to the final section of the podcast. And I know you guys saw the question at the beginning, and I appreciate you guys for being here, but let's go over that question officially. So the question I have is, what was your favorite announcement at the Game Awards? Because, man, I got a feeling this one might be one of those, brother, because it's a report from Jason Schreier where he said that there will be at least 2 holy moments at the show. Pretty much at least 2 mic drop moments. Now, Jason Schreier isn't the only guy that has said this. It was, I think Jazz Court? I can't quite remember. But somebody else also said that Jeff Keighley cooked when it came to this show. He did an amazing job with these announcements. Now, again, I don't want to get super hyped and have my expectations all the way to the moon somewhere. But when you're hearing multiple people coming out, not saying much, but just saying, this is a good one, or Jeff cooked, or again, it's going to be at least 2 holy cow moments that happened during the show, it can't help but to get you a little excited about what we're going to see tomorrow night. And for me, I'm going to tell you, and this is a spoiler, so pardon me, it's the same thing I talked about earlier in the show. So, incoming spoiler for a game that's going to be at the show in 3, 2, 1. That Mafia, the old country being there, I am so excited for that. I'm extremely excited. I can't wait to see what they show off. That's a moment for me. And I understand that's not a big game for a lot of people, the Mafia franchise, but I am hyped up. The other game that I'm hoping we see outside of that would get me extremely excited, because we haven't heard anything about it, like pretty much in 6-7 months. It's been a long time. We haven't heard a peep out of what Marvel 1943 is going to be. The game that Uncharted, she used to be the director on Uncharted. Man, Henning. What's her name? Something Henning. She's actually going to be behind Marvel 1943. And I saw that game. God, dog. I am looking forward to that. I hope we see that at the Game Awards. It's supposed to be releasing next year. If you haven't seen the trailer for Marvel 1943, oh, shucks. Amy Hennig. That's her. Shout out to her. This game looks phenomenal. I mean, whoo, and with her at the helm, oh man, that'd be amazing. I want to see that. I'm hoping Wonder Woman makes an appearance. We haven't seen anything on that in a long time. Man, maybe we see something on Blade. I don't know, because again, January, Xbox is going to have their show. But man, this should be a really, really good show. There's so many games we could see. Will Wolverine show up at this show? Could we see Wolverine finally happen at this show? Could we see Naughty Dog's new game? I mean, it's a lot of stuff. Do we see Ghosts of Yotai? Actual real gameplay footage of a mission or something. Combat. Yeah, of course, gameplay in the combat sector of the game. Do we see something like that? I mean, because PlayStation, it doesn't look like we're going to get the show. I mean, we heard that rumor, splat on that. That didn't happen. So since they're not having a show this year, what better way to show off your game, Sony, at the Game Awards? You didn't want to give us a show. Okay. Make up for it at the Game Awards. Oh my gosh. It could be incredible. So many different things could happen. Nintendo might announce something. Xbox, like I said, South of Midnight is supposed to be there. We'll see. Max Payne remakes are supposed to be at the show. It's so many things. So I'm just excited for tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'll be at work. I'll be actually in New Hampshire. I got to get ready to leave out of here in a little bit to go up there to New Hampshire. The U.S. Foods up there. So I'll be watching it on the road. I wish I was home to see that one, though. God dog. So I'm asking y'all in advance, what was your favorite announcement at the Game Awards? If you want to be a part of the conversation, and I would love for you to be, you can always do it two different ways. You can either email the show, and the email address is simply theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com, or you can call into the show, and the phone number is 443-627-9087 to let your voice be heard. Guys, I just want to thank y'all again for being here. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. And tomorrow, we gonna get some fireworks, brothers and sisters. Fireworks are coming. But again, thank y'all for being here. So before we officially wrap this thing up and put a bow on it, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So until next Wednesday, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.